Hello, and welcome to the Cult of Neuroplasticity. Sorry it's a little messy in here. You're the only person I have seen all day. So I haven't had a chance to clean, but perhaps that means you are getting a more authentic experience than the other person. Yeah, it's been a minute since anyone's joined. I joined 4 years ago, and it's been going quite well. I've had a nice time, so I'm excited that you're interested. Before we go further, I have tea. I have 2 teas. Do you like black tea? Yeah? Well, here, have this one. This is for you. And then I also have black tea for me because I love tea. And I love the tea bag in, so that way you can kind of control how strong you want your tea. I leave mine in. I like mine very, very strong. So cheers. And I also have some cookies. These are cookies. Biscuits, if you will, but cookies. So if you would like any, these are for you. There's 2 kinds. There's like a ginger cookie and then a chocolate. So it's really your preference. I've got cookies. Okay. So, welcome. Thank you for being here. I suppose you're curious about what this entails. And it's pretty simple, actually. We have our snacks. I have my computer here because I have to go through the protocol. But yeah, fundamentally, the way that this works is that I will first make sure that you're comfortable. I will light a candle to kind of change the space. And then we're going to get into a kind of a flow state. And in that flow state, I will explain to you what neuroplasticity is, what it is, scientifically. I'll talk to you about all that, and then I will lay out our 3 neuroplastic pillars. These kind of represent our values as a group. And we'll have a little discussion about that. And then, should you decide that you would like to join as well, I will confer upon you your very own blue grippy pencil. This is it. This is the pencil. Check it out. Should you choose to accept this, this is the token of official membership into the cult of neuroplasticity. And now you might be asking, why the pencil? Well, there's a few reasons. The first reason is that it's elemental. So it's not plastic, it's wood. And yet, despite being made of wood, it's a transformative item. So it is living and it makes life. It allows us to draw and write and make life. Another reason is that no matter what you write or in what state you write, you have the luxury of erasing and starting again. Which is quite poetic, isn't it? And it's really what the cult of neuroplasticity is all about. Fundamentally, should you choose to join, you might find that there are things about yourself that you really thought were solid and unchanging. But upon examination, you might find that those things came from somebody else or from your environment, or might have been a reaction to a particular time and a particular place. And then actually, you don't have to be that person at all, and you can be something completely different. That is wild. It's wild to find that out. Should you choose to join, moments like that might occur, and you might think, oh my gosh, I thought I was this, and then I'm not. What does that mean? It means that you are a human being. And that being a human being is incredibly complicated. You are incredibly prismatic as a being, and all your colors are going to change when the light hits this way, or that way, or this way, or that way. And neuroplasticity is kind of the radical position of accepting that dynamism, I don't know the word, but it doesn't matter. So that's a little bit of an intro. Are you comfortable? Are you doing well? Okay. All right. Perfect. With that being said, I'm going to light a candle. Check these out. I'm going to light a candle for us so that we can have a little conversation. Okay. A little talk about the brain. Yeah. It's funny, I sit at this desk all day waiting for someone to come in. And you know what? Sometimes they do. Like today, you came in. What a surprise. You know what else we can do? And we can do this because we're the only people here. So I feel like I can get away with adding something extra to the procedure. I think if it's okay with you, I will add a single stick of incense to the mix. Let's go. What do you think? Right? Okay. I like it too. We'll do it. Oh my goodness. Look at that. That's very pretty. See how nice? Yeah, that's great. Okay. I don't have an incense holder, so we're just gonna put it in the wax. I've also got my computer here because there are a lot of points that I need to say. So this is to keep me on track. But do you have your tea? Are you ready? Okay. Alright. Let's do it then. So the first thing I'm going to do is explain a little bit about neuroplasticity, which refers to the ability of the nervous system, the whole nervous system, not just the brain, but the whole nervous system, to change its activity in response to both internal and external stimuli. So it can reorganize its functions. It can change. Your nervous system, so the way that your body's communicating to itself, will change. It will, for the better, for worse, or just neutrally, but it will change as you live your life. But of course, there are things that we can do to help it change, which is the fun part. But here at the Colds of Neuroplasticity, we do try to keep up with the latest science as it changes and evolves. Although we view science as a partner, not a final authoritative figure, we view it as a partner to be in conversation with, in addition to other areas of study and creativity like the arts. But it seems to be that there are some competing narratives about neuroplasticity and some competing verbiage. But one of the ways that you can think about neuroplasticity, it seems not so much that, you know what, let me use a metaphor. I think that can be helpful. Do you know the Winchester Mansion? That really big, chaotic mansion that has many rooms. Some of them don't lead anywhere. You can open a door and it's just nothing. A lot of stairs. It's a bit of a puzzle. brain, like the Winchester Mansion, where it seems to be that there is architecture, very complicated architecture that is latent, that's already built in your brain. And that new things might not develop, might not magically appear miraculously, but that it was already there. So, for example, when I had a stroke, my brain could not communicate clearly to my left hand, so I couldn't move my left hand. But when I imagined really hard what it was like to move, I ended up activating my body, my muscles, using what seemed to be a different part of my brain. I used my visual system, my ability to imagine, and that worked to get things flowing again. And you will find that visualization and using alternative strategies to get in touch with other parts of your brain work and have been studied. So new research is emerging that demonstrates how this is possible and suggests that our brains are like the Winchester Mansion with all of its rooms and hallways, but it's so big and it's so complicated that you can't see the entire house from inside it. So metaphorically, when one section of the house is damaged, you think, oh no, there goes my living room, there goes my kitchen, it's all gone. However, there may exist parts of the brain, parts of your house, that you didn't even know were there. And in the case of injury, a light in one of those rooms might just come on. And you think to yourself, oh my gosh, I didn't know that was there. I have a second living room, a second kitchen. It's different than the first. It doesn't work as well, but it's something. So, in this kind of theory of neuroplasticity, the brain's architecture and the architecture of recovery, so using one part of your brain instead of another, has always existed. You just didn't know it. So it could be that when parts of my nervous system were damaged, other parts were ready. They were already capable of taking over the responsibility of moving my arm. I just didn't know it. So when I had visualized, I used my visual system, it kind of started turning the crank on those other parts of my brain to then take over the job of moving my body. Does that make sense? Yeah. I had activated part of my brain that had the potential to be activated in that way. This scheme of neuroplasticity says that the potential for what types of new connections, what types of change you're capable of, fundamentally rely on the architecture that you have. Some research suggests that the architecture that we have as adults is all that we get. Only that architecture is so much more elaborate and fluid and interconnected than we ever thought. So yes, some research suggests that architecture does change. So you can think of, in the metaphor of the house, there would be staircases that move and that things change and that parts of your brain grow and this and that. But regardless of the particulars of how you think about neuroplasticity, the conclusion is still quite similar, and that is our brains can do incredible things based on a neural potential that is unknown to us. It's just unknown. You're trying to see all of this, huge house while inside it, and there's just, you cannot see what's in there. There is more science to discuss. However, it's going to be now wrapped up in more of a philosophical conversation where it is my job as a representative for the cults of neuroplasticity to communicate to you the three pillars, the three neuroplastic pillars of membership. So this is where you really get to decide if you would like to join or not. So is there anything else I can get you? I see your tea is still hot. That's good. Would you like any more cookies? I'll put them by you. There you go. Okay. So, are you ready for these three pillars? Yeah? Okay, good. Here they are. Pillar number 1. This is very important. We're going to remember this. The first pillar of neuroplasticity says that everything affects you and you affect everything. And while you can curate your environment, you cannot fully control how it will change you. I guarantee it that you are going to encounter people in the world who say to you that you control your reality, and that your reality is within your control, and that nothing happens without you wanting it to happen or allowing it to happen, etc. On a fundamental neurological level, this is not true. It's not true. We affect each other to an incredible degree and in ways, many ways, that are not consciously known to us, but are true. This is because we have neurological empathy. We have empathy, and because of the mirror mechanism within our nervous system. This is the mechanism that processes things with the body. We process physically what we are seeing. This is why when you watch a movie, you might be on the edge of your seat, waiting for something to happen in a scene. This is why anything art moves us at all. This is why if you watch a video of someone falling, you can almost feel like you just fell. We absorb emotions, other people's emotions, animals' emotions. We absorb our environment and we process it physically. So when somebody inevitably says to you that you control your reality, it's maybe more helpful to think of that as a suggestion to greater curate your experiences rather than control your experiences, because controlling them and making your neurological reality is just not, it's too large to be within your control. So that hits at a more fundamental truth, that we are capable of affecting our lives through what we expose ourselves to and what we choose not to expose ourselves to. Acknowledging that things outside of us changes us, can help us better curate our experiences and then process when things do affect us, and they will. And that's doing the work to transform our experiences to our benefit as much as we can, right? So, balancing exposure to things that change us and then processing things that change us is a project that will last our entire lives. So, that's pretty fun. and part of the condition of being a person. So pillar number 1, that's pillar number 1. We, at the Cult of Neuroplasticity, reject any and all philosophies that put the responsibility of your experience on you 100%. And we take a more neuroscientific view that relies on empathy and the mirror mechanism to help empower all of us to understand ourselves and be nice to ourselves and navigate the world with as much finesse as possible. So now let's talk about pillar number 2, which may be surprising, but it's important, and we have it here in our literature. So pillar number 2, macro theories tend to complicate or break down at the level of the individual. Just as there is a physics for the small or the quantum, and a physics for the activity of larger bodies and systems, there are theories of society, big theories of society, and then a separate set of realities at the level of the individual. So, to try and embody a macro theory, like a macro political theory such as Marxism or fill in the blank, a kind of critical theory or anything like that would be a fascinating experiment. But pillar number 2 suggests that it is important to alleviate yourself and others from the burden of having to perform or live out a macro level philosophy that has not been adjusted to the scale of a person's individual life and circumstances. In other words, you might encounter people in society who ask you to represent entire bodies of people or systems of thought. This should be done with care, and this should be done kind of protecting your interest as a person, because some forms of these identity politics do not work. They can be damaging, and people, for the most part, tend to not fit inside these kind of macro concepts. This is okay, and it is important to allow our identities to be fluid and to be changed and to be individualized within broader theories of societies or groups of people. So we must be fluid within the boundaries, within the borders of macro theories of society and people. These theories are important, and we should wrestle with them, but we should consider separately the individual realities of individual people, and we must remain free in our complexities. We must remain free and considered complexly and uniquely for who we are. Pillar number 3. This is a real heavyweight. This is the big one. This is the biggest pillar. Okay, are you ready? This is the one I'm most excited about. I love this one. So, pillar number 3. Our world is made of unknown potentials, and these potentials are our boundaries, which we also do not know until we hit them, test them, or try to move them, which in the cult of neuroplasticity, it is a joy to do. That's pillar number 3. So, this is important, very important to say as bluntly and as clearly as possible. When I had a stroke and I was rehabilitated, I was rehabilitated. I came out of that situation according to a potential which I had no knowledge of. So I recovered through a cocktail of physical therapy and occupational therapy and all kinds of things, esoteric things. Like, it all depended on how long the doctors got to me, how long it took. It depended on the quality of my relationships, how lonely or not lonely I was, my own emotions, my own prior outlook, my memories, my self-esteem, my ability to visualize myself. Some people, no matter what's in that cocktail, and no matter how hard they try or want things, cannot recover from certain elements of a stroke or from paralysis. This is important because if somebody is unable to move a barrier or the boundary that they've come up against, it does not suggest that they are doing something wrong. It does not. It means that you are exploring our metaphorical house, and you are finding where things segment and where one room ends and another begins. I was only allowed to recover with my cocktail of ingredients because the motor potential was somewhere latent in my nervous system. I just had no idea. So, because we have no idea, it is important to try anything and everything that we think might work. You do not know what your potentials are in any neuroplastic situation, so why not try everything? You can try to learn a language, cook, perform a sport. You can ask somebody out on a date. You can try to be extroverted, introverted. You can do a variety of things. So your boundaries and potentials are fluid and mystical. You should engage with them through a place of curiosity and do not feel shame when you smack up against something that's not happening that you were trying to make happening. I have smacked up against all kinds of things. I personally have a hard time running, riding a bike. I can't ice skate or rollerblade, but I am curious and I stretch and I meditate and I work out. I participate and I try to do things. I'm always striving for seeing if that boundary is still there, if it's fixed, if it's fluid. Can I do this? Could I do that? I don't know. Maybe I don't even want to do those things. But if I want to, why not try? Honestly, some of these things I can't do, I don't really care about. Because it is not my focus. My big goal is dancing. Can I dance? That's what I want to work on. And I also want to align myself with all the other potentials that I have. So dancing, or just going on the train, or just being out in the world. Pillar number 3 is big, and it combines with the other two to suggest that we, to think that every single thing is in our control, is 100% in our control, is dangerous, and it's not real. That's not really real. However, it is important to know that we inhabit what is essentially a massive Winchester mansion that is 90-something% unexplored. It is a mystery. We are mysterious. Other people are very mysterious. It is important to question what you do not know about yourself, to be curious about it, and to question every limiting narrative that you have about yourself, and to think, is there anything that I want but I do not allow myself? We can play with the change in attitude. We can play with emotions. We don't know what we're capable of, but we're very, very, very smart. We are so smart. We are incredible. It's unreal. So we can spend our time getting to know that with the understanding that we are networked and that other people affect us too. So I know that was a lot of information I just gave you. So if it's okay with you, I'm just going to recap the 3 pillars really quick. Number 1, everything affects you. You affect everything. And while you can curate your environment, you cannot fully control how it will change you, but it will. Number 2, macro theories tend to complicate or break down entirely at the level of the individual. Be aware of them, engage with them, and make them, but make yourself free within them. Make yourself free. Number 3, our world is made up of unknown potentials, and these potentials are our boundaries, which we also do not know until we hit them, test them, or try to move them, which in the cult of neuroplasticity is a joy to do. So, congratulations on taking all that in. That was a lot. What do you think? I know it's a lot to take in. It's truly incredible. I think once you live it, you will find yourself doing all kinds of things, like making a YouTube video because who cares, or just trying to be vegetarian, or like wearing a little tiny t-shirt to show off your body. Really, the scale here is huge, and the possibilities are endless. So, what do you think? Would you like to accept your place within the cults of neuroplasticity? Great. That's good to hear. We have something to do. I have something to give you. Please hold out your hands. Yes, that's great. Thank you. Okay. I have with me the blue grippy pencil. Okay. I'm now going to read you this passage. Are you paying attention? Okay. By accepting your place in the cult of neuroplasticity, you accept the radical ability to navigate the world with curiosity and openness, and to explore and to express yourself, and to calm down when you hit a wall and reconnect with the tools that you have to be mobile. We acknowledge that we need others and that we live as ourselves by brushing up against others. So we are not lone wolves, and we have a responsibility to other people. They have a responsibility to us. We have a responsibility to each other. We are neuroplastic. We are free. What do you think about that? You are now free. You are now free to accept this blue grippy pencil. May it serve you well. May you make many, many things with it. May you make incredible, incredible things with it. Yeah, that's yours. Congratulations. Let's have a bit of a toast to you. I can't believe we have a new member. It's been just me in here for so long. I'm very excited. Maybe we can share a desk. Cheers to you. Cheers, cheers, cheers. Cheers to your new neuroplastic life of coffee and books. I really hope that you will come back and join us. Move into the attic if you want. But next week we're going to be throwing things out the window to see what happens. We're going to be testing the limits of reality. And there will be more biscuits. And maybe a carrot, maybe a vegetable or two. I don't know. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate the company. Hopefully I'll see you soon. Goodbye.